Hello and welcome to today's session, Transform Your Work with AI-Driven Document Capabilities. Before we get started, I'd like to mention that today's webinar is being recorded and you're currently in a listen-only mode. We'll email you a link to today's recording along with the presentation by the end of the week. The On24 room you're in today allows you to adjust and resize the widgets that appear on your screen, so feel free to move them around to get the most of your desktop space. And captions can be activated from the lower right portion of your media player. Simply hover over the area and select CC. Please be sure to check out the Resources tool on your console, where you'll find content to complement today's topic. We of course encourage you to submit questions at any time throughout today's session by using the Q&A tool located on your screen. Be sure to hit the Submit button to have your question placed in the queue. We'll address as many questions as time allows. Finally, if you experience any technical difficulties during today's event, first try refreshing your browser to reset your connection. If that doesn't work, please request assistance via the Q&A tool on your screen, and we'll be more than happy to help. We also invite you to answer a few short survey questions related to today's topic. You'll find the survey questions on the right side of your console. Please complete the survey at any point during today's webinar. And finally, feel free to connect with our speakers on LinkedIn to continue the conversation. And with that, let's begin today's presentation. Thank you for joining today's event, Transform Your Work with AI-Driven Document Capabilities. I would like to introduce your presenters for today, Maria Dakabu and Rachel Smiley. Welcome, Maria.
Hello, my name is Maria Dakabu. I'm a senior manager here in Document Cloud Product Marketing at Adobe. I'm here today with Rachel Smiley, a solutions consultant in Document Cloud. Rachel, welcome.
Hi, and thank you, Mari. I'm really excited to be here today.
So, today, we're going to be talking about what our customers are seeing with digital workflows and information overload, and how AI can be a powerful solution to speed up document tasks. We'll share some of the capabilities in AIA, that's Acrobat AI Assistant, that save people the most time, and show you some demos showing how Acrobat AI Assistant can quickly summarize, analyze, and generate content from your documents. We'll be answering a few questions during the session, and colleagues of ours will also be available to help us reply to you in real time. So please post your questions in the Q&A section of the console. And with that, let's get started. So, Rachel, let's talk about what the underlying challenge is here. We've seen pretty consistent increases in productivity across the board and, across industries over the past several years. Knowledge workers have been getting more and more done with less and less. So why are we here? What is the problem we're solving for? And why do we care about using AI to further transform our digital document solutions?
It's a great question, Marian. And I think first of all, there is a productivity challenge. Organizations are looking for ever increasing productivity gains, and a lot of knowledge workers are just swimming in content. Not to mention, content's everywhere, and they need to be able to consume, analyze, and generate insights and content quickly and effectively. And they have to be able to do it from anywhere. So it's a lot.
So, what about automation, right? We already have these documents digitized. It's all electronic. It's on your computer. Can't we just automate our way to increase productivity?
Yes and no. With highly structured documents, automation's an easy win. But we have to think about how content is created. It's flowing, it's narrative. It just makes sense when a human looks at it. But for the vast majority of organizations, 80 to 90% of their business content is unstructured. And that's really why we need AI. When AI works well, it makes sense of all of this unstructured content. And that's really where Adobe has differentiated itself. It's deep understanding of documents and document structure. And we see that a lot in our extract capability that underpins a lot of the technology we're going to be discussing today. And extract can really parse and understand a document in a way that you and I can, and represent it so that systems and tools can actually make use of it.
So extract is enabling machines to look at documents the way people can. So while that touches on the quantity or the mass of the content that people are having to work on, and even the quality of it, right? That unstructured and structured content, you talked a bit about where those people are working. I think we know that 41% of US workers are at least working part-time remote. And 50% of workers, they really talk about collaboration as being key to getting their work done. So that means that people are working from anywhere. Can you talk about what that means for organizations? What are they having to think about with this distributed workforce?
Yeah, another great question. I mean, there's a number of things, and there's a lot of concerns around data security. We see a lot of dialogue around increased cyber attacks, data breaches, and malicious phishing attempts, particularly in this distributed workforce. And I'll share a statistic with you. 82% of security professionals see data leakage as a top concern for generative AI, and really only 24% of generative AI projects actually include the appropriate security measures.
That sounds really significant. And we know that, I mean, AI is out there, right? Yeah. Everybody wants to be using it. There are lots of options. There are some that are, brand new on the street, some that are coming from much more established places. So we know that everyone wants to work with AI. It really feels like for enterprises from large organizations, picking the right partner for AI is probably one of the most important decisions that they can make. Rachel, can you tell us, what are organizations thinking about when they're choosing a partner?
Yes. Well, they've got to look for an AI solution from a reputable partner that's enterprise ready, that's highly secure and easy to deploy. And that's a lot of what I'm talking about with my customers today. And it's a lot of the reason why my customers want to work with Adobe. It's our time in market and Adobe's trusted reputation as a solution for all of these highly regulated document processes. And it makes us a great partner for AI.
Okay. Well, that brings us to the topic of the day, which is Acrobat AI Assistant. And again, we sometimes call it AIA. I know that we love our acronyms at Adobe, don't we? So Rachel, please tell us all about AIA.
Yes. Well, AIA is Adobe's answer to this document productivity problem. And with AI Assistant, we're really empowering knowledge workers to automate tedious tasks. And what that means is that they're gaining the ability to ask questions of their content, summarize, analyze, generate, modify, even brainstorm across all of their content. And the good thing is that the tool is accessible from anywhere. It's backed by enterprise-grade security and compliance, and it's absolutely effortless to deploy.
Okay. So, I mean, this sounds great in the abstract. You said a lot pretty quickly, right? But we can't see it. So I think for us to really understand the value and for us to share it with our audience, it would be helpful to think about it perhaps in context for some specific document-centric activities. So there's one I can think of straight away because I always think Adobe first. This is where I work. So from an Adobe perspective, Adobe is both a vendor and we work with other vendors as well, right? So people are supplying us and we go and in turn supply them. So we are both creating and consuming and receiving MSAs all the time. We're MSAs coming in and out of our ears. So when we think about how we want to work on both sides of this relationship with our customers, we want to ensure that we have a trusted and transparent relationship. And we want to do this through the documents and the good work of our legal teams, right? So it's document centric and there are a lot of legal teams. When I think about our legal team, they are fantastic people, but they are highly trained and expensive resources. So no one's trying to replace the good work they do, but we do want to be able to augment and streamline their activities. And I think many of the customers you talk to, they're having similar concerns.
Yes, absolutely. A lot of the customers that I speak with have the same challenges, are talking about the same things. And I actually have a great story to share. I was working with a customer in the legal space specifically on procurement use cases. And their goal was ultimately to increase the speed of work and boost productivity while also reducing risk. And so they needed to find a way to process and review a ton of agreements at once, like MSAs and NDAs, like you were just talking about. And so they needed a tool ultimately that would help them get to these insights faster. And that's really where AI Assistant comes in for them. And by deploying AI Assistant, they were able to use the tool to summarize key terms, analyze contract language, compare it to other contracts, and even generate summaries that could be important to other stakeholders. And so for this particular customer, AI Assistant had a wealth of value for them. But that does bring us to a great demonstration that I have that actually showcases a legal example of what I talked about just now.
Great. Let's see it.
As a member of the legal team, I have recently received a services agreement from one of our vendors. Utilizing AI Assistant in Adobe Acrobat enables me to promptly obtain a summary of the agreement, conduct risk analysis, pose inquiries, and produce additional content based on this document, all supported by Adobe's renowned security standards. The data within this AI session is securely encrypted and localized to the documents specifically within this session, ensuring that information originates solely from these documents alone. Furthermore, I am reassured that sensitive information remains secure and will not be utilized for training any models. First, I have uploaded this document into AI Assistant. Instantly, my agreement is processed, summarizing all relevant contract terms. Now, I no longer need to read through a contract to identify key contract data like renewal terms and payment terms, saving hours of manual work and freeing up time to really focus on negotiating a favorable contract for my organization. I can also easily analyze this agreement by asking insightful questions that help me understand what language is in the contract and identify risky clauses. For example, I will prompt AI Assistant to prepare possible areas for negotiation in an upcoming contract renewal with strategic advice and to put it in a table format. In just a few moments, I am provided with intelligent insights that quickly give me direction on how best to position my organization in contract renewal discussions. This is great advice that can provide the baseline for how I can build recommendations on what language in the contract should be adjusted. I can also easily find references to the AI responses, giving me the ability to easily see where AI Assistant is finding the information to answer my questions. I can also get deeper analysis by comparing it to previously executed agreements. For instance, since I've worked with this customer before, I can easily upload a previously executed services agreement. Here, I can identify any changes. For example, I will prompt AIA to review the two contracts and identify and summarize any textual changes between the versions. In seconds, AI Assistant has listed out all changes between the two agreements, saving me time from having to manually reread each agreement and do a line-by-line comparison. Once I have completed my comparison, I can easily leverage the tool to generate content, such as emails, to help me quickly summarize key contract terms. Here, I will ask AI Assistant to draft an email message that summarizes the strategic advice and key differences between the contracts. In moments, AI Assistant has produced a clean email for me to send to other internal key stakeholders. By utilizing AI Assistant, I have incorporated a tool that enables me to summarize, analyze, and generate content within Adobe's enterprise-grade security framework. This enhancement has significantly accelerated my workflow, provided faster insights, and ensured that my organization is optimally positioned during contract reviews.
Thanks, Rachel. That was a great demo. I can see why you're a solutions consultant. You're a natural. So in this demo, we saw some really key important things, right? We saw enterprise-grade security. We are working in Acrobat in the documents you're looking at. That's fantastic. We saw great increases in productivity because you were able to ask questions and be able to get through that content and really get the actionable insights out. And then I saw also those attributions. That was fantastic. You clicked on it and you could have proof that you're pulling out the right piece of information. So while that was a strong example on its own, we see that analyst findings support the outcomes that you've demonstrated here. The FIFO report shows that AI Assistant, with AI Assistant, traditional workflows are accomplished up to 4 times faster. When compared to traditional methods of reading, structuring, and composing legal content, AI Assistant provides an 85% time savings. Getting even closer to home, Rachel, you and I sit very close to the sales organization, though we have really different roles at this point. I spend most of my day in meetings, as does everyone in my immediate group. But nevertheless, we find that either we weren't in the meeting we needed to be in, or we were in the other meeting, or we're never in all the critical meetings that we need to be in. So we spend a whole lot of time trying to find out what happened in one meeting or trying to fill in a colleague about what happened in the meeting they've missed. And while this doesn't necessarily sound like a document process on its face, we do know that we keep transcripts of our meetings and notes, which inherently makes it a document process, right? And I think you face similar challenges too.
Oh, yes, absolutely. I'm running into the same challenges. I hear you on the meeting thing, but working in a sales organization myself, like my team finds a lot of value in AI assistant and ultimately sales teams like mine are looking for opportunities to improve productivity so we can really focus on revenue generating tasks. And what that means for us is we're looking for opportunities to reduce administrative work. So we find a lot of value in AI assistant. We use it a number of different ways. We use it to summarize and analyze transcripts, to draft compelling emails, and even put together presentations and summaries of content for customers. So we're using it on a day-to-day basis, and it's providing a lot of value and time back for us. And that does segue nicely into the next demonstration we have for you, going over the sales process.
As a sales team member, I have just finished a meeting with a potential customer. I need to document the key details of the meeting, outlining any next steps and creating clear and concise notes. The meeting was recorded, and I have the transcript available. Using AI Assistant, I can summarize the meeting, analyze its content to identify risks, ask questions, and generate clear, concise notes that will be useful for myself or other sales team members for future reference. My Acrobat account is actually connected to my Microsoft Teams, allowing me to easily access transcripts from recorded meetings. Here, I will select the transcript from the call that I've just had with my potential customer. The transcript is immediately processed with AI assisted, and a list of suggested questions is generated for me. These suggested prompts make it a bit easier for me to gain key insights quickly, meaning I can get exactly what I need without needing to be an expert at prompting. I will also prompt AI Assistant to summarize the meeting for me, organizing the details in such a way that can easily be sent to other important stakeholders like managers or other team members and allow them to come up to speed quickly. AI Assistant may also be used to quickly analyze the meeting by asking insightful questions. For instance, I may ask AI Assistant to analyze what major risks should be addressed for this customer before they purchase this solution. AI Assistant instantly provides a list of identified risks, giving me some insights on the best next steps for this customer and making sure that I'm aware of the risks that may prevent the customer from having everything they need in this evaluation process. By removing any friction in this area, I am able to have a more seamless and successful sales cycle. I also have the capability to upload multiple files for analysis. This allows me to upload additional transcripts from previous customer conversations, or even white papers containing information on the products that the customer is interested in. Now that I've loaded my files in, I have now created a collection for AI Assistant, and I am able to prompt AI Assistant across all of the documents within this collection. For instance, I want to create a value-centric presentation. I can prompt AI Assistant to help me develop a framework for this presentation using information from prior conversations and this product white paper. AI Assistant offers a clear framework for this presentation, aiding me in drafting talking points that will be useful in discussions with this customer. It also provides references to where the information was found. This process saves time by eliminating the need to review notes or transcripts and provides useful starting points for constructing this value-centric presentation. As a sales team member, AI Assistant has a wealth of value to me. I can instantly summarize conversations and notes, analyze transcripts and other content to gain insights that improve sales strategy, identify risks, and generate a variety of content such as notes, emails, and summary briefs that can be shared across all important stakeholders. And this, of course, all happens within Adobe's enterprise-grade security with no worry about my customer data being used to train any AI models.
Thank you, Rachel. That was another fantastic demo. And you really focus on three major tenets of sales, right? So we talked about revenue generation, which is always key. And I know managers always want to hear, when are you going to make time for that revenue generation? And then risk mitigation, which is key. You're finding the right points in every meeting that you've been to. I've got to say, one of my favorite pieces is always to get actionable items. What are the action items that need to come out of every meeting? And you can automatically extract it. So that's wonderful. And again, AI Assistant is bringing the receipts that the analysts are looking for too. And the analyst reports really do support these findings. So when we look at a typical document-centric activity for a sales team, we can see that with AI Assistant, you can save 75% of the time that you would have previously spent, giving those teams back time to, again, engage in those revenue-generating occupations. So in each of your demos, we've seen that you have extracted great value by using AIA, that's Acrobat AI Assistant. However, any solution is only really useful if it's accessible to its user base, right? If you have a solution that is too complex to use, who cares? Or if it's too hard to implement. So the sales team is not going to be able to be made up of prompt engineers, right? They're not engineers generally working in sales. Can you talk about what it takes for a regular knowledge worker to be successful using AIA?
Yeah, absolutely. And teams can get to value very quickly with the tool. You really don't have to be a prompt engineer to use AI Assistant. It's really designed to be incredibly user-friendly for your average knowledge worker. And I'll give you an example. AI Assistant uses natural language.
Okay, before you go any further, natural language feels like it's a normal term, but can you tell us? I feel like it means something really specific here.
Yes. So when I talk about natural language, really all it means is that it's like talking to a friend. I can chat with AI Assistant and ask it questions the same way I would ask you questions, Maria.
But I don't come with attributions, right? So you're going to have to take what I say on faith. I know in your demos, we pointed to those little blue boxes, right? You clicked on it and it showed you the actual content in the document you were looking at.
Yes, and attributions are really key in AI Assistant. Like we saw in the demo, it's super valuable to be able to get references to where these answers are coming from.
Mm-hmm. And that allows us to prevent that dreaded word, the
hallucinations.
Exactly. Yes. Okay. So what if I wanted to ask a question about a question I've already asked? Can I do that with an AI system?
Oh, yes, absolutely. It's turn on turn, so you can absolutely do that. If you want to ask a question and a follow-up question and refine the responses, AI Assistant has the capability to do that.
Well, that's fantastic. In fact, I recall in one of your demos, you showed us getting the response in a table, right? I bet I could even add emojis to it.
Yes. You can add tables, emojis, whatever it is. You absolutely can refine your responses that way.
So this is great. You're saying we definitely don't have to be prompt engineers to be able to make good use out of AI Assistant.
No. You don't need to be a prompt engineer at all, but we do help a little bit, right? If you recall in those demos, if you don't know what to prompt, we do have suggested prompts. So as you saw in the demonstrations, we had those suggested questions that somebody could come in and easily click and get a response from the content in, and it made it really easier. And if you don't want to use those suggested prompts, we also provide a wealth of resources around like what prompts you should use or how to actually prompt something like an AI assistant.
A veritable library, if you will.
Yes. Prompt library.
Fantastic. Well, with an eye on the clock, I think that's all we have time for today. This time went so quickly. Fortunately, we've had time to touch on really important things. We've been able to touch on the productivity and the efficiency we'll gain from being able to use AI Assistant, the way we'll be able to speed up those workflows that we're going through, the fact that AI can be such a powerful solution to really speed up all of our document tasks. We've shared so many of the capabilities of AI Assistant, and we know that there are more still that you can go and see in our demo library. So with an eye to that, please take a look at the poll that we have here. Thanks for participating in the poll. We appreciate your input. Now, if you'd like to learn more about the topics we've covered today, check out the resources we've shared. You'll find links to tutorials, user guides, and other support material. Feel free to click through to visit and continue learning about today's topics. Thank you so much for joining me today, Rachel. It has been great.
Thank you, Mario. It was absolutely my pleasure.
And thanks to our audience for joining. Take care and have a lovely day.
Thank you, Maria and Rachel, for that great presentation. And thank you to our audience for joining and participating as well today. Before we log off, we ask that you please help us out by completing a quick